So when you look at money raining down on you, how about we forecast some money rain into your life? Does that sound good? The mood that you occupy is the one that is going to become most prevalent in your reality. We're going to be exploring how you can make some of those money wishes come true. My name is Fazila Bijo, and I welcome you to the Inner Work Mastery channel, where I help you explore, understand, and apply the teachings of great mystics like Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy, Catherine Ponder, to name a few, where you can learn how to apply the teachings from these great mystics and teachers so that you can create the life and the reality that you truly wish to be living. Have you ever wished for money to come down around you as if it was rain? We're going to look at how that particular imaginal activity was employed in this week's video. Would you love to have that? Where a mother and a daughter come together to bring about their money wishes. There are so many that struggle with the manifestation of money. And why do you think that is? Strictly speaking, there are some schools of thought that say, do not manifest money, do not focus on money. You should really be looking at the end state, your desired state. And yet there are many who would love to and who actually manifest money. So I'm not going to leave this one out. I'm bringing this topic in, and the case study today is going to help us look at how you can actually do this. And remember, test the law. Put your imagination to the test. You've got nothing to lose. We're going to be looking at how that common state of mind or the mood, which is a temporary state or feeling, can be employed in order for you to get into the state of your desire. It has to start with you feeling your desire real. And again, many people battle with the feeling. So what comes before the feeling? It's a temporary state, but it would be very prudent for us to become aware of our moods, which is that temporary state of mind or feeling, not to be confused with moodiness, which is often used to describe someone who is unpredictable and erratic and changes their moods often. That temporary state or mood is what you're going to use initially in order to increase the feeling of your desire being fulfilled. So the mood that you occupy shapes your outer reality. Last week I mentioned to catch the mood and wear the feeling. Now this means that you occupy the temporary state like you would wear a new suit or a dress. So let's say that you go out clothes shopping. In the store, you'll go into the fitting room, you'll take the appropriate size in with you, and you're going to see if it's a good fit. Now that's the mood. You may decide you like it and it fits well, but it has that newness, it has the hard edges, etc., because it hasn't softened to fit around the contours of your body. And so you wear it a couple of times before that temporary newness becomes more familiar. And as that newness starts to feel more comfortable and familiar, that's now wearing the feeling. So with your mood, let's say this is one of abundance. How do you feel the mood of abundance? Well, I would feel joyous when money comes through. And even more so, how would you feel when you have accomplished whatever you desired to purchase with that money? That's the mood you're going to be looking for. And now you're going to wear that mood constantly until it becomes a familiar feeling. So this is what it means to capture the mood and then to wear the feeling. I know it sounds simple, but when you persist and you work with what your mood implies in terms of your desire, you're going to get into more of a persistent state of feeling it regularly. Initially, you must persist. Be committed to having your temporary state of mind, the mood, becoming a permanent feeling. If you haven't seen my previous video, hear what you want to hear, which explains the gates. Now, the 4 gates are going to help you take that mood from a temporary state into the more permanent feeling so that you can feel it real. So watch to the end and You can see how the mom and daughter in the story make this experience of money very real. Something to be aware of. What kind of a mood do you have when you think about money? It's going to tell you why you may be having some struggles. So when you identify the prevalent mood that you have when you think about money, when you think about having it, when you think about desiring money to for whatever purpose or reason. So it's going to give you an idea in terms of why you may be blocking your manifestation, why you may be struggling with manifesting money. Because that mood you have in terms of money is going to lead into the feeling that you have about money, and it leads into the hardening of that feeling into an assumption, and that assumption becomes a belief. So it's very important you start watching what the mood is in terms of your money situations. So if you want a visual in terms of see money raining down all around you, see yourself as though you were in a sea of cash. Chapter 7 of The Law and the Promise is called Moods. And it's important enough that I want you to become aware of how your moods are impacting your reality. So Neville says this: man imagining himself into a mood takes on himself the results of the mood. So the moods you occupy will be the results you manifest. It seems so simple, but when I started to look into why was this chapter so important that Neville included a whole chapter on moods. So this is what Neville says why moods are so important. It's that the mood you occupy will be the results you manifest. And here's further expanding on this particular paragraph. If man does not imagine himself into the mood, he is ever free of the result. And this is what it means. If he does not capture the mood of his desire, if he doesn't know what it's like to have that desire, he will never achieve the results he desires. So you can become quite a good and accurate predictor of how successful you're going to be based on your moods. When there's circumstances that come around, what mood are you in? So that mood, when persisted in, becomes a feeling, and your feelings harden into fact. They show up in your reality. This case study starts with, this is a story about which some may say it would have happened anyway. But those who read it carefully will find room to wonder. It begins one year as I left Los Angeles to visit my daughter in San Francisco. Instead of the happy-natured individual her daughter had always been, she found her in deep distress. Now, she didn't know what the cause of her daughter's anguish was, and she didn't want to ask. But she waited until her daughter told her that she was in great financial trouble and she had to have $3,000 immediately. Bear in mind, this is in the late 1950s, early 1960. $3,000 was quite a lot. She says, I'm not a poor woman, but I didn't have that much cash I could put my hands on that quickly. Knowing my daughter, I knew she would not have accepted it anyway. I offered to borrow the money for her, but she refused. Instead, she asked me to help her in my way. Now we know this, I get this as well, that people who do not quite believe in the law will, at some point when they are really, when they're desperate, or they're really sitting with overwhelm and they really don't know where to turn to, they may turn to you as the one that knows the law and say, please, can you do it in the way that you seemingly manifest stuff, which is using your imagination. Now, MB says, I had often told her of your teaching, and some of my words must have struck home. So for those of you who talk about using your imagination and creating your reality, etc., you will no doubt have someone along the way who may ask you to actually help them, and you can totally help them by using your imagination, because you can raise them out of their problem into solution. And believe me, people will hear you. You may think that they haven't heard you, they will. Now she says the following: I immediately agreed on this plan with the provision that she would help me help her. And this is what they did. She says, we decided on an imaginal scene we could both practice that involved seeing money coming to her from everywhere. We felt money flooding towards her from every corner until she was in the middle of a sea of money. But we did this always with a feeling of joy for anyone concerned, and we had no thought of means, only happiness for all. I want to pause on that point. There is the golden rule: do unto others as you would have done unto you. And this is quite important then, because what you see for someone else, you're actually seeing it for yourself. We're all connected. And if you would love something for someone else, it means that you would give it to yourself willingly. So in this case, what they saw was the money comes in. There's nothing wrong with wanting and desiring money, but they see it from a space. The mood is joy, and they see it from a space of anyone who's concerned being the channel of that money coming through to them. Remember that is not the source. Is you. Your imagination is the source. Your imagination creates reality. Your imagination creates money. But there are people who are involved in your chain of your manifestation on that bridge of incidents, who are the channel in terms of bringing that money through to you. Now, when you can see this in a pleasing way, that it will be pleasing for all concerned, that is, do unto others as you would have done unto you. That's the golden principle. Now we're going to see how it works out. Her mom says the idea seemed to catch fire with her. She was certainly transformed back to the happy, confident mood that was natural to her, though there was no evidence of any real money coming in at the time. She's wearing the mood of joy. She's wearing the mood of confidence. She's not going into problem. She's not looking at what I do not have. Your mood must be true to your desire. If you are to have your desire, if you know that your desire is already a given, you would not be in the state of lack. You would be in the state of, I have this. There are no doubts. My previous videos as well, which I'll link in here, when I talk about the double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Doubt is going to derail your desire. It will slow down your manifestation. So it is best that you are always, always aware of your prevailing mood. And mom says, I left to return home to the east. When I arrived home, I called my mother, a lovely young lady of 91, who immediately asked me to come and see her. I wanted a day's rest, but she couldn't wait. It had to be now. Of course, I went, and after greeting me, she handed me a check for $3,000 made out to my daughter. Before I could speak, she handed me 3 additional checks totaling $1,500 made in favor of my daughter's children. Her reason, she explained that she had suddenly decided the day before to give what she had in cash to those she loved while she was still here, to know of their happiness in receiving it. And this goes back to how mom and her daughter, when they were visualizing and imagining, the mood was joy, and they specified that all concerned would be happy. And this is now how the bridge of incidents, that the grandmother is part of the bridge of incidents. She is part of the channel. She is the channel in terms of the money. She is not the source. In her letter to Neville, she says the following: it would have happened anyway? No, not like this. Not within days of my daughter's frantic need, and then her sudden transformation to a mood of joy. I know that her imaginal act caused this wonderful change, bringing not only great joy to the receiver, but to the giver as well. P.S. I almost forgot to add that among the checks so lavishly given was one for me too, for $3,000. MB. We see that the drama of life is an imaginal activity. Whatever is happening outside of you first started out as a thought within, and that thought became attached with the February state of the mood, became attached with the feeling, and that brings to pass the physical reality, because from there on, the practiced mood, what we persist in terms of our mood, becomes an assumption. And an assumption is that we believe, if we believe something to be true without the evidence being present. And this is what faith is. Faith is making the unseen seen. So when you look at money raining down on you, you do not know how. You do not have to know how. You do not question the means, but you feel it as the mood of joy, as the mood of success, as whatever it is that you most associate having money with, or you would love to associate having money with. And you bring that mood in. As I said, it is like wearing a new suit or a new dress. Initially, it may have the structured hardness of it from the new cloth, but over time, when you wear it repeatedly, it becomes comfortable. It becomes softer around you. And that's the feeling that you've got to keep cultivating, because the book, Feeling is the Secret, talks exactly to this. And there are many ways for you to persist in your mood. Boundless opportunities open up when we work with our imaginal activity. And you are the one that determines how quickly it will go from being a mood to becoming a feeling to becoming an assumption. I mentioned this last week. Nothing is too good to be true. Nothing is too wonderful to happen. And nothing is too good to last. It means that there is nothing that is beyond you being, having, and doing. So there is nothing that is too good for you to have in your reality. There is nothing that is too wonderful that is beyond you to happen to you. There is nothing that is so good that won't last. This particular excerpt is from Catherine Ponder, and she says as well, every day in every way, things are getting better and better for me now. Vast improvement comes quickly in every phase of my life now. I now accomplish great things with ease. I've included the extended passage here. What this does is it will neutralize any doubts and any doubts and any unresourceful moods, which could be things like anxiety, discomfort, stress, etc. If you are focused on problem, this is one way to neutralize those thoughts. Rather focus on and remind yourself, there is nothing that is too good to be true for me. There is nothing that is too good and too wonderful that won't happen to me. And there's nothing that is too good that cannot last for me. So every day, in every way, things are getting better and better for me. Vast improvement comes in every phase of my life, and I now accomplish great things with ease. And this is because when you change your mood and you bring in inner conversations that you may be having around problem, you can now focus and move your energy and move your mood into solution. Please leave your comments and let me know, what insights did you get out of this week? What is your prevailing mood in terms of money? What is your money story? I'd really love to hear from you. Test your imagination and prove that the law works. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.